Hi, Draye.
Hey, Dean.
Okay, so man, tell folks a little bit about you, and then I've got three hypotheticals, stories that we're all going to run through, and I'm going to kick you right off in the very first one after you tell folks who you are.
Sweet. I am Draye Redfern. I own fractionalcmo.com. I also own a full-service digital marketing agency called Redfern Media. We've done a lot of marketing for big personality brands like Damon John from Shark Tank, Chris Voss, the FBI hostage negotiator, Peter Diamandis, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and a whole bunch of other people like that. So sort of multiple ends of the spectrum. We play in both ends of the pool, one on the fractional side and one on the done for you side, and sort of everything else in between. So that is the high level of me in a nutshell.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about some fractional CMO scenarios. Okay. First one. You've landed a client, you've signed them, all the paperwork's done. It's day one. They're local to you, so you're actually going to show up at least on day one, right? Nobody needs to be in any physical place all the time, but it's day one. You're going to be there. What's the dream scenario when you walk in on day one with a new client, and what's the nightmare scenario?
I think dream scenario on day one with any fractional CMO client is
Right.
They know that there's certain things that they don't know. They're at least willing to learn and have their eyes opened a little bit. Most of the time, data is not great. So attribution or analytics or whatever else, that is, usually the first starting place. So if they know that there are certain things that they don't know, then that makes it really easy for us to come in and do an audit, figure out what's working, what's not, and then begin to do more of obviously what's working and less of what's not. But you got to have data attribution, tracking, and that sort of stuff.
That's the nightmare.
Yes. The nightmare is they have to be right, and it's their way or the highway. And I've lost count how many times this has happened. The reality is, the only businesses that could afford to not have some sort of CMO or fractional CMO or even an agency are the Fortune 1000 sort of companies, because they have teams and teams of people.
Yeah.
Most people, even the smaller to mid-sized businesses, if they don't have it all sort of dialed in yet, they need help, but they have to be willing to learn. And if it's their way or the highway, then it's never going to work out.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. And Sue, hi. Welcome back.
Hey, Dean. Thanks so much for having me back.
You were here 140 episodes ago.
I know. I can't believe that's awesome.
We're back.
That's awesome.
Okay, Sue. Thank you. So tell folks a little bit about you, and then I want to talk about your nightmare and your dream scenario on day one.
I'm the founder of Hire Fractional, which is a marketplace that connects fractional executives with growth companies. I am also the founder of Fractional Powerhouse, and I'm a fractional CMO, and I coach fractionals in order to get them the clients they want with the authority they need in order to give them the lifestyle that they really are looking for and they deserve.
All right. And what's your dream scenario on day one, or your nightmare? You can start with either one.
So my dream scenario for a new client is that when you walk into the client, they have very clear business goals and objectives. They know where they want to go, but they recognize that they just don't know how to get there. And part of that is that they're willing to give marketing a seat at the table and a voice there as well. So it's that they recognize that they have a problem, but they respect your authority and your experience and your background to say, I understand that you're going to bring me the solution that we need. You're bringing me an outcome, and we trust that you're going to get us there.
And what's the nightmare?
The nightmare is that they don't have clear business goals and objectives. They don't know where they want to be in 1 year from now. They don't know where they want to be in 5 years from now. And they're bringing you in to fix a problem, and yet they don't even know what the problem is. And so it might not even be a marketing problem. It might be an operations problem. It might be a finance problem. It might be a sales problem. But they're bringing you in to fix this unidentified problem. And because they can't articulate it, it just leaves you in such a bad position.
Okay. So let's finish out the first day at the new client scenario. You were going to have a meeting with the CEO, first ever, now that the CEO is technically a client, first ever meeting with the client, not a prospect. But you get this message and it says, hey, I can't meet. I'm in a board meeting. Come on up. I want you to talk to the board. And you get up there. They say, okay, welcome, Sue. Talk to the board. Basically, we want to know, is there anything at the CEO or board level that we should stop doing so that you can, lean into your strengths? Or is there anything that we should start doing to make sure that we get, maximum value out of the ridiculous amount of money we're putting into you?
If the board put me on the spot on day one, I 100% would just recognize to them saying that I don't have enough information about your organization yet to make accurate and valid recommendations. I would need to do a deep dive into three things. One, into their people, into their marketing process, into their marketing technology. And I would want the opportunity to do that. And then I would offer to come back in 30 days with those findings and my recommendations. But I would not be making recommendations on day one.
And Draye, how about you? The board wants to know if the board members or the CEO should typically start or stop doing something so that they get every penny's worth out of you.
I agree with Sue. One of the things that that we do before any engagement is we throw bodies at a problem.
Right.
And so before we ever really start, we'll show up before day one with already a really good idea of where things are broken. There's enough analytics tools and things out there, that you can tell from front facing, without even opening up the hood, where things are broken, where they could be better optimized. So we usually like to show up and usually have that as like an ace in the hole sort of thing, keep it to ourselves until they're like, hey, what do you really think we need? It shows that we show up prepared. There's a certain element of it as well that it says that we're on top of it. But as far as making anything past public facing things that they could fix, whether that's tracking, attribution, et cetera, you'd have to be under the hood. You'd have to have a lot more data to actually make real worthwhile decisions.
All right. So let's switch scenarios. Draye, you're on stage. You're the keynote speaker. There's 250 people in the audience. Every one of them came out of corporate. Every one of them became a fractional CMO yesterday. They are this is day 2 for them. And day 1, even though they work from home, they had to orient themselves on where the bathroom and the employee break room is. So they're fresh baked. Okay. You're the expert to them. No matter, even if you've been doing it for 3 days, you're still more experienced than they are at 2 days. Okay. So I'm going to start 3 sentences and you can fill in the rest of the sentence with as long of an answer as makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back and forth between you and Sue with the 3 questions. So first thing you're telling them near the top of your speech is when you're starting out as a fractional CMO, the one thing you're going to be most shocked by is
the fact that it's not a straight line up and to the right. You can't run marketing for a client straight up and to the right, and entrepreneurship and running your own business is much like there's a piece of art that was done by a guy named Hugh McLeod, who done a lot of the stuff for Seth Godin, one of the most famous marketers out there. Hugh works at a company called Gaping Void, and they have this piece of art at Gaping Void that says entrepreneurship is like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh yay, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. And that is, in my summarization, the best way to clarify what it's like being an entrepreneur, hanging your own shingle, and realizing that there's going to be some really, really, really good days out there. But it's also there's also a lot of trials and tribulations, and you've got to have the staying power.
Yeah. There's someone mentioned that on a podcast about a year ago, I think. I don't know. Apparently, they're a Woody Allen fan, and they said that Woody Allen said that 80% of success is showing up, but in your own business, 80% of success is just being at it long enough, so enough people know you and think you're in it for the long term.
Yep,
that's it. You just sometimes you just have to be around long enough, and then you're done. Okay, so Sue, how about you? You're looking at this audience. Oh, they're so hopeful, Sue, and you're saying, look, guys, the one thing that's going to shock you the most getting started as a fractional CMO is what?
Fractionals that aren't making this key mindset shift are leaving money on the table. Because if they're still thinking like an employee, like a freelancer, they're leaving money on the table. Because the real shift comes when you think about becoming the CEO of your own business. Yeah. This means owning your positioning, and building demand like the company does, right? Creating those scalable, high value offers, and you're not trading time for dollars. And fractionals have to recognize that they have decades of experience. And so the challenge for them isn't just about finding clients, it's positioning themselves as the right choice for the right ones. Because the reality is they're not starting from scratch. They're starting from experience. But they need to step into the role of CEO in their own business. And until they do that, they're going to be leaving money on the table.
All right. So Sue, you're about the middle of your speech now, and you're saying, and look, the brutal truth is many clients just don't understand.
Marketing is not sales.
Mm.
Sales is closing the deal. Marketing is why the deal was possible in the first place. Sales happens in a conversation. Marketing happens before the conversation even starts, right? The positioning, the messaging,
Right.
the authority building that makes someone think this is exactly who we need. Because if you don't have marketing, sales will feel like convincing. With strong marketing, sales feels like that natural step. And the reality is, sales and marketing must work hand in hand. Because if we don't have alignment with sales, the message will get lost. And so, what we need to do is ensure that both marketing and sales are 100% in sync, because marketing builds that demand, sales converts it, and together it's that consistency, confidence, and clients that we're all looking for.
I heard someone on a podcast last year, and he said they were asking about like how do you prove the ROI of marketing, and he said if marketing is so good at a company that they're playing the game on insane mode, the rest of the company gets to play the game on easy mode. People recognize them. They make calls that get returned. They say who they work for. Says, "Oh yeah, I've heard of you guys." Right? It smooths out everything if marketing is playing on insane mode, the hardest mode, and if it's not playing on insane mode, then everyone else has to like work harder to achieve the same thing. And I thought that's a kind of interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
Draye, how about you? Most customers are, the brutal truth. Most customers just don't understand what.
The old saying, "The riches is in the niches,"
Mm.
is still so relevant.
Yep.
But in this day and age, you really need to, if you're going to do that, everyone has heard that phrase these days. So if you're going to do that, like really specify what you're doing. And so if you're the fractional CMO serving that particular client in particular. So if that's the case and you know who you're serving, then it makes it a lot easier to actually give more strategic advice regarding whatever the thing is that they're doing. So most clients don't understand that if they're hiring an actual fractional CMO, that everyone and their mother brands themselves as a fractional CMO these days.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a cool thing because I don't have to do all the back end work. Like it's a very easy lift. I can start my business and hang up my shingle today. Most clients don't know how to properly vet a fractional CMO that fits their needs. And if they're going to do that, they need to find one that works in their niche and has really good specificity with what they're working on.
Yep. All right. And then, Draye, you're sort of at the end. Some intern is trying to pull you off the stage. Like music's coming up because they want you to go. But by God, you're going to make this last point, right? As you're sort of leaving them, you say, look, a fractional CMO, whether it's today, next year, whenever, the number one piece of advice I can give you for getting clients is what?
Be in the room.
Mm.
All of the big name clients that we've ever had and got across fractional CMO or Redfern Media have resulted of me being in the room with other high level players.
Mm.
And the relationships that are built in high level rooms are oftentimes you're not paying to be in the room. You're paying to be in a room that doesn't have other people in it. Like who is not in the room. I'd say that oftentimes requires a monetary investment. That's scary for a lot of people. But whatever that may mean for you, find the room of those ideal clients that you want to work with and do whatever you can to get in that room.
So never underestimate the power of proximity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Sue, how about you? Number one piece of advice for fractional CMOs when it comes to getting clients from you is what?
Build your brand.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little story. It's 11 o'clock at night. Your phone buzzes and your sister just had a baby and she wasn't due for another 2 weeks. But here you are running out the door, grabbing your keys, heading for the highway because you have to be there, right? It's a 4-hour drive and you've got adrenaline, so you're good. But it's 2:30 in the morning and you're tired. You need coffee. Up ahead, you have two choices: a local coffee shop, neon sign flickering, unfamiliar, or you've got Starbucks, recognizable, reliable, that place you know. In that moment, you don't have time for surprises. You need something you can trust, right? Something that you know is going to be consistent every time. So you pull into the Starbucks, you order that double espresso, and you keep going. And that is exactly how companies choose fractional executives. when they need urgent expertise, maybe their revenue is flatlining, maybe their ops are a mess, or they're scaling faster than they can handle. It doesn't matter.
Right.
They don't have time to be going through endless LinkedIn profiles or generic pitches. They're going to be going with that brand they know and trust. So you need to make sure as a fractional that your positioning is strong, your expertise is undeniable, and that you are the leader in your niche. You have to understand who you serve, the problem you solve, and that's the one that's going to get you the client. So they don't hesitate, they choose you. And so having a strong brand is incredibly important as a fractional executive.
All right, good answer. All right, so third and final of the three scenarios. You're at a conference. You're, on the floor and you're meeting people, you're talking to folks and whatever. As you're talking, you're talking to prospective clients, really is why you're there. As you're talking to prospective clients, marketing is one of those topics where a lot of people know at least a little bit about it and think they know a lot about it. And as they bring up topics and want to talk to you about certain things, a concept, an idea, a platform, a tool, changes in technology, whatever, right? Sue, what do people talk about, prospective clients talk about with you that you think is overrated? And what do you think is underrated that not enough clients talk about or pay attention to in 2025?
So the most overrated thing in marketing right now is honestly chasing the latest shiny thing. Yeah. Right? Whether whether it's the latest AI tool, I mean, that's truly where we're at right now, is that everybody is chasing the shiny thing instead of staying focused on having a clear strategy aligned to business outcomes and that long-term plan. Right. And so for me, what's so underrated is what I just talked about, right? What is so underrated is building the brand. It is that consistent brand that stands for something, that creates that long-term trust, that authority, that will build demand, and that's going to make your business a whole lot more sustainable.
All right. And Draye, what do you think?
I think
overrated, underrated.
The things that are overrated are tactics. Tactics change on average every 90 days, similar to the shiny object side of things. Strategies are, can last 6 months to 6 years. It's not the sexy stuff. And every client wants you to sprinkle in some of the sexy stuff, some of the fairy dust with the tactics and this and that. And like, what's the AI video tool of the day and all of that other sort of stuff. And all of that's fine and good, but it has to be one of the pieces of a bigger strategy. Otherwise, it's completely worthless 30 days from now, 60 days from now. AI changes every 30 days, 60 days. And so you can't build something off of that. It has to be anything that will fit into a bigger overarching strategy and build into it that way. Otherwise, it's, you're going to waste a lot of time, burn a lot of money, and waste a lot of time just across the board with everything you're doing.
Right. All right. So you're talking to these folks and one of the prospective clients asks you, like, I hear a lot of stuff. I've been talking to a lot of people. Can you just boil it down for me, Draye? What is marketing?
I define marketing as 2 words: awareness and relationships. So marketing, if they don't know about you, there's no way that they could, build a relationship. So marketing is awareness in order to then build relationships. The relationship could then result in a sale, or it's not a right fit, or whatever else. I define marketing is awareness that builds relationships. So there's so many things that could be inside of that. It could be branding. It could be direct response. It could be, social media. It could be 1,000 different things. But if they don't know who you are, they'll never buy from you. And if they don't have some sort of relationship, then they're never going to buy from you.
Fair enough. I've got a slide that I sometimes have to use when I'm talking to clients, or in my case, most of my business comes through fractional CMOs. So the CMOs are not the client, but you guys normally, you show up at a new engagement, you have like a Rolodex of people, right? And if the client doesn't have an agency, or doesn't have an SEO guy, or doesn't have a graphics lady, or doesn't have someone in my field, like they can bring them in. And the slide just says, it's got like 3 sentences on all. The very first one is just, some number of strangers need to be told that you exist and what you sell. And the number is higher than you think. Right? And if we can establish that first, some number of strangers need to be told somehow that you exist and what you sell, and it's a higher number than you think, then we have a basis for, like, progressing in your marketing. But it's not like, it's not 30 people. And then, Sue, how about you? Like, when they ask you, what is marketing, what do you say?
Marketing isn't just about getting seen. It's about becoming the go-to choice in your niche.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how do you position your expertise? How do you attract those high value clients? And then how do you turn that demand into revenue? And it's not about random tactics. It's about putting together an integrated strategy so that the right clients can find you, trust you, and choose you before you get on a call. It's about know, like, and trust. And so clients have to know you, then they have to like you, and then they have to trust you before they're even going to buy from you.
Right. And then, Sue, the last of the three questions, as you're talking to these prospective clients on the conference floor, what's a red flag and what's a green flag when you're talking to a company? Is it like, no, or, ooh, yes, hello, handsome client with big checkbook?
A huge red flag for fractionals is a company who is just looking for an extra set of arms and legs, and they don't see you as that strategic leader. They don't value the expertise you bring to the table. They're just looking for an extra set of arms and legs. They just want you to execute. And so for me, the green flag is the exact opposite. They're looking for that strategy. They're looking to bring you in to be a partner in the C-suite. They're looking for you to bring your strategic insight to the table, and they're looking for a true executive, not just a task doer.
All right. Now, Sue, I'm going to switch over to Draye, but before I do, just to put it in your head, surely there's something that I have missed about asking. So come up with a good question for Draye, and when I'm finished with mine, you can ask him yours.
Okay.
All right. So, Draye, what do you think? Red flag and green flag when you're talking to a prospect?
Red flag right out of the gate is usually price.
Yeah.
Like just asking about the price or, whatever else, leading with price. Any of those sorts of things are usually red flags. There's a meme out there that's like, someone who sends you like $500, like I need a guarantee on this and I need, ROI in 30 days and I need this and I need that and I need this and that, versus someone who sends a $50,000 wire and they're like, wire sent, thanks, looking forward to working together.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's a meme, but it's so accurate when it comes to the world of fractional.
In my part of copywriting, the outbound, interrupt people kind of copywriting, it's a very well-known meme. It says, small business client, please explain to me again how this is going to transform my business, put food on my table, put my kids through college and ensure my retirement. And it's like $5,000. And the big company with the $50,000 one, it just says money sent.
Yep.
Yeah, very familiar with that meme.
And it's so accurate.
Yeah.
That is the red flag right out of the gate.
And just to be clear for anyone like watching, there's nothing wrong with asking for price. What Draye is saying is before you even have an appreciation of what you're getting and the value and what it's going to deliver, you need to know what you're asking about the cost. And the cost doesn't really mean anything until you know what you get for the money.
Correct. Yeah. If I were to charge $50,000 for an engagement and you make, 500,000 of it, that's a good ROI.
Mm-hmm.
So price.
Yeah, you make that deal every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
But if it leads with that, it's usually a red flag of like, this is going to be I'm going to feel like Sisyphus pushing that boulder up the hill and never quite getting there.
All right. I'm going to give you a chance, Draye, to ask Sue a question, but first she's going to ask you a question.
Yeah. So, Draye, what was the biggest mindset shift that you had to make when you became a fractional executive?
The biggest mindset shift that I had to make when doing the fractional side of things was not trying to solve all things for all people. My natural tendency, having had an agency for 15 years, was let's just go solve it and immediately I can solve this today. And so for me, the shift was their own thing with their own teams, but stay on like a finger on the pulse regarding what is, the real guidance that they're actually paying for.
All right. And what do you think, Draye? What's your question for Sue?
What has been the biggest differentiator in how you differentiate yourself and how you've used that to grow the business?
So it's all about building a strong brand. So this, you couldn't have offered me a better question, because this is where I'm going to put it in a shameless plug for my book, The Fractional Formula, The Fractional Executive's Guide to Predictable Growth. And it is now an Amazon #1 bestseller. And so for me, it was all about building my brand and be very clear about who I serve. We've talked about niche, and niche is incredibly important. So being very clear on my niche, who I serve, the problems I solve, and the outcomes I deliver.
All right. All right. So, Sue, these days, thanks, by the way, both of you for being here. This has been fantastic. These days, who should be reaching out to you, and what's the best way to get to you?
Yeah, so the best way to get to me is at fractionalpowerhouse.com. You can also get a copy of my book there as well as on Amazon. And yeah, I would love to hear from all of you.
Yeah, but who, client-wise, should be reaching out to you?
Oh, yeah.
Don't invite the whole world, Sue. You do not want to have that many free consultations.
You know me. I like to chat with everyone. But as a fractional executive, my specialty is that I serve technology companies, so professional services organization in the tech B2B space.
Right. Okay. And Draye, how about you? Who should be reaching out to you these days, and what's the best way for them to get to you?
Most of the time, they have to be doing at least $1 million a year in revenue. Upwards of 15 to 20 million is usually the sweet spot. That typically is B2B, more often than not professional services. So we've got everything from private equity to various, doctors, lawyers, accountants, dentists, financial advisors, all sorts of people like that. So that's certainly, the bulk of our book of business.
All right. Well, guys, both of you, thanks. Sue, thanks for being here again. Draye, thanks for being here the first time. This has been fantastic. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.